Cactus crew, are you guys around, or am I going to do this alone? I'm never going to do this alone. Thank God for you guys. But also, if you're new, welcome. Yeah, this is part 2, although I'm going to show you a short of part 1 because we only got 28 minutes in on part 1. I'll link it below anyway. Everything is linked below, or links, and sorry if I sound out of breath. I just ran down the street after my dog. Not my dog, my parents' dog. I'll throw myself off. Check out the description box for all the links, and that's where the timestamps will be for the replay crew. Also, I just want to point out that so after watching part 1, I've released a few shorts. Well, I think one. I've got another one coming, which I might just show you, but I'll post it later and you better watch it. But basically, this is what addiction is. And I feel like I can provide a very important perspective here because I have been an addict. Well, I was addicted to meth for over a decade, and I've been sober for over a decade. And I just see all the signs with Katie, and I just fucking thank God I never got a YouTube channel then. But it's, it's funny, but it's not. But yeah, so we're going to watch Katie's Instagram live from September 23rd, 2023, which also the date might be off because I'm 13 hours ahead. Come in and have a chat in Chinwags. Oh my God. Come in and have a chin wag in chat. Oh my God. My whole Australian heritage is just not looking at me now. Disappointed everyone. I've never said have a chat. I've always said let's have a chin wag. But even before Katie. So, it's just Aussie slang for having a chat. Can we have a chin wag? Because, your chin wags. Depends how big it is. I don't know if Katie's would. I'm awful. I'm terrible. Give this video a like, share it, and please do consider subscribing. Everything I say is my own opinion. And if you hear a pug snorting and, breathing, I've just got to deal with it. This is my life now. Oh, gosh, guys, it's been a long time coming. Oh, gosh. That went up quick. I wasn't expecting you to join us so quickly, Katie. I mean, you kind of snuck in there before I could get myself situated. I'm liking this. I'm liking where my box is going. Everything is running smoothly. I hope everyone in chat is going all right. I still can't figure out this situation. Oh my gosh, with this. Okay. I am getting situated because, yeah, we only made it 28 minutes in, but that was an impromptu live on my part because I don't usually go live on a Saturday night at midnight. But yeah, it was good. Gave me a lot of nightmares, didn't sleep Sunday. But also I think Katie might be buzzing off. This is just for anyone who's into energy and the moon, because it's currently a Capricorn moon, which I am. So that's why I was like all over the place for a while. But it's going to be an Aries full moon on the 29th of September. And Katie is an Aries moon. Yes, Scorpio sun, Aries moon. The most manipulated, most manipulative person. Well, she's a narcissist, but and this is only Katie. If you also have those, Katie, you're throwing me off. What was I doing? I was trying to talk and do stuff at the same time, and I don't have that skill. I'm never going to have that skill. I want to show you this short of where we've been, even though I'm pretty sure everyone's seen this live. I think it's important to show where we've been in just a 1 minute quick clip if my internet will load, but it's not going to. Why wouldn't that load? Please go away. This technology issue bad cloud that is following me around like I'm in the clip Travis. Why does it always rain on me? What happened to that one hit wonder band? Anyway, I called this clip yellow, Coldplay yellow. Where are we? Am I going to show the fine people, or are we just keeping it to ourselves, Bill? Keeping it to myself right now. Okay, hang on. Oh my God, look at me. I might have just done stuff while I was talking. Imagine if the mic's turned off. It's beautiful. Everything is beautiful. The screen is fixed. It's
I got a message tonight that
completely changed my mood.
it was from a little girl who's now an adult who grew up with the Duggars. I got a message tonight. It was from a little girl who's now an adult. From a little girl who's now an adult. Super good friends with the Duggars growing up.
Super good.
And she said, thank you for exposing these bad men. Thank you for giving a voice to us that cannot speak. There are girls like this woman who's
an adult
and she now has children who don't feel safe telling their stories because they are afraid of the retaliation and of the violence in this cult. I got a message tonight.
Oh my God, and what a slow, torturous 28 minutes of video we watched in that part one. So basically, that was part one. This is part two. Now you're up to speed. We can proceed. Oh my God, I'm a rapper. I'm a rapper at the best of times, really. It's just really told me that I'm on the right track. If it didn't rhyme, we wouldn't have been on the right track. Katie, you're starting off with your smile. Oh, also, trigger warning, this is Katie's favorite topic, which is my hardest to cover when it comes to Katie. Like, not only was I able to study with the addiction stuff, but yeah, CSA survivor. So Katie affects me, but I feel you don't need to watch it if it's going to affect you. Like, stop. I'll do it for everyone. It's fine. I can handle it. When I can't, I tune out. And if I miss anything, you can just tag me in the comments or in chat. And yeah, because my default mode is body language. That's what I prefer to read in real life as well. Like, I just turn my ears off. It's too much. I'd rather just read people's body language. Yeah, so if I miss anything, that's what's happening. Also, what was I going to say just quickly? Can't remember, so I'll just press play. Okay, Katie, it's your time now.
Said, why did Jim Bob say he didn't remember the abuse? And they were like, it was so long ago. And he was just curious. There wasn't really abuse. He just looked. So clearly this woman was completely disturbed by this, okay? And I just want to tell you guys that I'm not sharing this off of one person's response. Like, these are conversations I've had with multiple people with the Duggars that have had these same conversations, okay? Alice told me something similar. I talked to Alice this week on the phone for 3 hours, and Alice told me too the same thing.
So she was on the phone with the little girl who's now the adult woman that has children that messaged Katie. Wasn't that conversation 3 hours? And Katie could tell that she was uncontrollably crying. But then that was an email because we just watched the short. She said she got an email. So now, like, she's 3 hours on the phone with, who was it? Have I already forgotten? And yes, she is talking about Alice. And at the beginning of my live yesterday, it's linked, but no, I deleted that one. But yeah, I was going through the Reddit posts. I might do a little video just so it's right there in one video for itself, like might be a short. But yeah, it's basically comments on DUGGARS snark from 2 years ago. And it was a guy that he testified for the government, and he grew up with Josh. That's not who Alice is, but he knew Alice, and he was the one who let everyone know that Alice had passed away. And then people were like, oh, why does like it say, why does it like write, like certain posts refer, like write as if she's still alive? And that guy replied that he did it for privacy because people have dug into his, like, people, you know, this is what Katie, this is the kind of thing Katie is creating. Now YouTubers think that it's okay to dig into people's personal finances, find out, you know, go on their family's Facebooks, dig up photos and all that shit. That happened to this guy because he testified for the government. Someone saw his name in there and they like went and got all info on his family and doxed him publicly. It was absolutely, when I was reading this, I was like, oh my God, that's Katie. That is Katie. Because no one needs that information. Katie doesn't know what information to share and what not to. So if someone did email her, which we know no one would, it was probably Katie. And then she got the message the next day and the day before is erased, because that's how an alcoholic's mind works, because otherwise they would be living with extreme guilt of all the things that they've done. But if they can, you know, the last drink of that day and then it ends, you wake up and it's a fresh new day, you can't remember anything. And you get to go about your day being, that's sad, isn't it? That's such a sad life. And it's like every day is the same thing, like over and over and over.
Josh was just curious. He was just looking. Nothing happened. The problem is that wasn't true. There actually was abuse that happened, okay? But what Alice told me this week, which is what I didn't even know this. Alice told me that when Josh was abusing the babysitter and his sisters in 2002, Jim Bob and Michelle weren't even home. They were on the road campaigning for his Senate campaign. And he was.
I'm pretty sure that I knew this information. I don't watch the Duggars, but I read a lot and I feel like I never thought parents were home because, you know, Katie, I'm pretty sure it happened at night, didn't it? Or something, like when there was sleeping involved. I hate that you just want to rehash these details, and I hate that you like, it's just an excuse for you to talk about this fucking topic.
Was running against the Tim Hutchinson, and they had been gone from the house for 6 weeks. Before they left, Josh confessed to Jim Bob and said, I molested my sisters. And Jim Bob said, okay. He was just looking. Nothing happened. Weeks. Josh, 14 kids at this point. So Mary was left with 14 children or 13 children. And Josh, who had just confessed, yeah, they were gone from the house for 6 weeks after Josh confessed. And while they were gone, Josh assaulted the babysitter and his sisters. Okay, I want to address the blind items about Crazy Days and Nights. Don't read the blind items about the Duggars. Don't read blind.
Yeah, don't, okay? Only read what Katie posts, even though they are blind. Katie's literally blind on everything. But those blind items are pretty true. Plus that day and night podcast. Oh my God, how good was that with the whole teen mum stuff? Who was it? Okay, we're not, my brain's like, look, we can't go down that thought path. We have to just stay here. Otherwise we will get to a, you know, something better. Gosh, you're so bad. I just don't want to, I feel bad for you guys because I struggle with this topic so much. And Katie is just so easy. Like, I mean, it's just so easy for her to talk about this, but there's no emotion. There's nothing. Did you see her fucking smile? Josh admitted to his sisters, and then she smiled. I feel sick. She makes me feel sick. I've seen evil in Katie's eyes twice. That's probably why my YouTube video slow to take off, because I took at least, well, 2-3 times, 6 months total off. Because the end of 21, the Josh Duggar trial, and Survival Day, take 2. Fuck, man, she's so evil. Who smiles after saying he admitted to doing this to his sisters? Who smiles? And it wasn't just a grin, it's a full-on smile. She smiled with her fucking eyebrows.
Blind items about the Duggars, they are always wrong. Crazy Days and Nights accused Derek Diller of being a murderer. That site is terrible, and they know nothing about the Duggars. I don't want to get any posts about that. I don't want people believing the blind items about that. It's bullshit. Bullshit. There was no toothpaste. There was no toothbrushes. Like, come on, you guys. Oh, Kyle on TikTok. Some douchebag on TikTok knows? Come on. No, there's no blind items about the Duggars that are actually true. There's no reason for a blind item to exist. People will go either on the record or they'll go on. People that post blind items have nothing. They're making shit up.
Katie, you make shit up. You make shit up. You are the one person, like, you're talking about yourself. I would trust a blind item over you any fucking day if I had to put money on it. Oh my God. Katie, you are not the go-to source for the Duggars. You did not even pass the background check for Shiny Happy People. You weren't used in a Duggar documentary because you didn't pass the background check, because they realized that all of your videos, there's no information, there's no help being provided, there's no advocacy. It's all bullying. It's actually what, 800 videos on the Duggars. It's Stalkerville. It is stalker. It is, like Susie said, you love to re-traumatize. And that's what you do to the Duggar women. You love bringing up what Josh did to them because it doesn't affect you, it excites you. But these details affect other people, Katie, and most of all, affect the women. Stop posting his picture. I bet it's your fucking wallpaper on your phone. This is disgusting. Fucking, bring me a blind item any day.
I have never in my life ever followed anyone that does blind items. Crazy.
Sorry, I have a video and I'll put it out later. I'll do a short on it where Katie talks about blind items. It was her favorite thing. I mean, I'm pretty sure she used to follow Anti-Lawyer on Twitter.
Days and Nights literally accused Derek of murdering someone in Central America. Okay. Like, why would you follow something that there's no proof and no one willing to go on record or even say that they're a source? Okay. No. First of all, Jill knew about her abuse. It's in the police report. Jim Bob told the girls that it was more traumatic for them to have their abuse be publicized than it was to actually be abused. So he has brainwashed all of his daughters, including Jill, into believing that it was more traumatizing for their abuse to become public than the actual abuse. It's really sad. And I feel so terribly for Jill, because nobody should have to have their public abuse, like their intimate child abuse, be publicized. But Jill still totally believes, to an extent, even when you read her book, you can tell she holds guilt and shame because she felt like she defrauded Josh. And they told her she defrauded Josh. They told her that she caused the abuse. They blamed her. That's what Alice told me. Alice was there when all of this was going on. Alice was there when the police investigation happened. Alice was there when the abuse actually happened. And they blamed the girls. And they blamed the people at the church for trying to intervene and help, and said that was more traumatizing. So every time a layer happened that actually tried to help the girls, Jim Bob would say, they're traumatizing you more. Jill is still unpacking that trauma.
Katie, do you think Jim Bob reminds the girls every day of what they went through, what Josh did to them? Do you think that he uses hand gestures to remind them what, digital, you know what I'm saying, Katie? Do you think that he has Josh's photo pinned to the fridge? You're the one that is causing the most trauma to these girls, to these women. You are the one that can't get over the details. You love the details. You're also the one that has no idea of the harm you're causing. I'm pretty sure that Jim Bob might know the harm that he's causing because it's part of the brainwashing thing. And I hate that you say, I feel terrible for Jill. What about the other women that haven't been able to wake up yet? Or if they have, they're too scared because the fear has been driven into them. I don't think you really understand. It's all story time for you. It's all glorious details that you know too much about, and it doesn't affect you. You show no emotion on your face, which it's disgusting to watch you talk about this shit, man. Oh, I got to stop shaking.
And still dissecting and deconstructing from that belief system. She doesn't even fully, in my opinion, understand that she wasn't actually re-traumatized by the police report being released. She was never allowed to be traumatized by the abuse. And so when the police report was released, that was the first time she actually was allowed to think about the abuse. And so it felt like she was being re-traumatized, but it was truly the first time she was allowed to think about it. And I hope that makes sense. And I'm not trying to minimize her trauma, because child sexual abuse is terrible. But Jim Bob has been brainwashing these girls for years and telling them that anyone that's tried to help.
CSA is terrible, but okay, but no, but
help them is trying to re-traumatize them. He told the girls that the police had a vendetta against him, and that wasn't true. He told the girls that she was traumatized by her father making her defend him, okay? But she's not re-traumatized because they're doing this. She was traumatized by the abuse, and her parents didn't allow her to deal with that abuse. They never got her help. And so it's repressed and it's stuffed down. And for years, her dad told her anyone that tried to report the abuse was trying to hurt her, harm her, and it was worse than the abuse. Do you know right now?
Such a monotone. It was worse than the ARIES. She just loves the words. The words don't have meaning. They don't have depth. They carry no weight. They're just words. Oh, I fucking hate you, Katie. Oh my God. Okay, I came up to say something else, and she's just so... Is she in the basement? Is she downstairs in the basement? Sitting on the chair that's that's vertical to the kitchen? Like the kitchen is on the right. I'm just trying to like get my bearings. Where are we in the house from hell?
That he's telling people that Jill's book is worse than Josh's abuse. He's telling people that Jill's book is worse than Josh's abuse. This is what he does. So Dasha Nichols was the woman at the church that actually reported Jim Bob to the police and Josh to the police. She reported both of them, Jim Bob and Michelle, for not properly, like for child neglect, not taking care of their kids. And she reported Josh for the abuse 3 years after it happened. And Jim Bob told the girls that Dasha Nichols actually was traumatizing her more than Josh. Jim Bob told the girls that they could not remember their abuse, okay? So I was talking to Alice, who knows the fifth victim. Jim Bob met with the family of the fifth victim. And this is what Alice's recollection is heartbreaking. I'm not going to identify the fifth victim, but Alice knows this person personally, was around when this was happening. And according to Alice, he approached the family and said to them that Josh assaulted the fifth victim. And he told the family, your child was asleep and they don't remember. Here's the thing. The child was so terrified of Jim Bob and Josh that even if they did remember, they had to go along with Jim Bob telling them that they didn't remember. So Jim Bob goes to the house and says, Josh assaulted X, but you don't remember that it happened.
Maybe you should get a mirror. You know, maybe you should get a mirror and talk into it so you can see what we see when you talk about CSA, your favorite topic. There's so much saliva. There's so much licking your lips. What are you doing? You're really like, look at you. You're perked up. You're enjoying this. Where's the heart? Where the fuck is your heart, Katie? Because you're talking about a child just like daily, like not daily ritual, like an errand. And he dropped over there and he let her know that, you know, she was blah, blah, blah. You want to hold that number 5 up again? You do love charades. You've basically outed the fifth victim, Katie. Remember your IG live that you did during the trial, November 2021. Yeah, you actually spent a good half an hour of that live going through the Duggar kids and, you know, which one could it be? Which one could have, you know, been another victim? I'm sure there's more. Or which one is like Josh? On that live, you did that. And here you are, like, with, like, you... Who gets you, like, what makes you think that you have a right talking about this over and over and over? You're not an expert, Katie. You've had no advocacy training. You've had no, like, training how to deal with trauma. You wouldn't pass. You're too cold. You're not switched on. It's very story time-esque, you know? Far out. It's just so cold. How cold is this? It's so, maybe, you know, maybe the nurse was right and it was too cold in the basement. The whole house is as cold as ice. There's not even, have you seen their curtains? They don't have curtains. They just have those pull down privacy shutters that provide no warmth for their Bible thin walls.
You were sleeping, remember? We're sorry that he did this, but you were sleeping and you don't remember. That child had been so conditioned and broke down that even if they did remember, they couldn't tell Jim Bob that they did because Jim Bob was like the leader of their cult. So, yes, he was coaching this little girl. Alice says that victim 5 does remember what happened. Alice says the girls remember. Alice actually shared a really heartbreaking story with me. So she was really, really, really hard on the buddy system. Jill spoke really fondly of the buddy system, and Alice said that the buddy system was super abusive. The kids were Alice literally said that Jim Bob and Michelle were always gone. Always gone. And Michelle did not take care of the kids at all. She didn't cook. She didn't clean. She didn't homeschool. So Derek had alluded to this a couple days ago about how poorly educated the kids were. Alice told me, along with another one of a friend of the Duggars, and then another girl that grew up with the Duggars told me this too. The Duggars do not have any education.
Oh my God. Like, we know this, man. We know this. It's part of keeping the women in the gold. You are so annoying, Katie. We know this. We learnt this on episode 1. Shit, man. Alice told me. Alice is the general news bearer. Alice is just someone, like Alice could be anyone. Who has Katie pissed off recently? Because it's not Alice. Remember when Matt Bayer told Katie that Amber was getting fired and she just ran straight to the net? There's no vetting. Katie's in it for the glory that she's come up with information, and Alice has contacted her. No way, no way is the Duggar snark read it right, even though you get all your info from there. But whatever you read, Katie, is like you comprehend it differently anyway. So if someone told you that Alice had passed away, you would come up with some lie that you would tell yourself that would reassure you that, no, you're talking to Alice. There's no Alice. Should I send you the song? I can send you the song. Katie, I'd love to see you dance to Where the Fuck is Alice? No, Who the Fuck is Alice? But I don't know. No, that would ruin it. Okay, I need to take a breath. Is this all she talks about? Stuff we already know?
Like, it's remedial. They didn't care. They were telling people publicly that they were educating their kids, and they weren't at all. I believe.
Oh, let's talk about this. My ears perked up. I had tuned out. I was scrolling on my phone, but I'm back. Oh my God, let's talk about this. I don't believe, let me get my words right. I don't believe your son is leaving the house to go to school physically. First off, I did a video when he was first day of school and how you shared your little message with your hubby. They'll believe this. They'll believe that I'm talking to my husband and we really talk like this. And my son asked me to pick him up because he loves me that much. Bullshit. And then there was a post. Ellie shared it the other day where you were like, no videos or something because your husband was sick. But why wasn't your son at school? You had to be mummy duty. So that made me a little bit concerned. And then I'm thinking, because you, Miss Telehealth, won't go and get your face-to-face GP appointment where you can get your whole face assessed, because in my opinion, there's a lot going on. I believe that there's parasites and stuff. And when I say this and when I bring this up, I'm not being mean. I'm seriously, I have no hate for Katie. I know that's a big thing, but I think it's one of my weaknesses that I can never hate anyone. But what am I talking about? I threw myself off because I'm like, do I? Let's just really think about that. Is that true? When I bring up about her face, I am worried because I know what the mind of an addict is like. Addiction is a brain disease. It changes the way you perceive the world. What Katie sees when she looks in the mirror is not what we are seeing here. Because addiction is never going to show you reality. And Katie has not sought help for her addiction. She doesn't believe that she's an alcoholic. And when I say that she suffers with addiction, I believe that she abuses her Adderall. I don't know why I can't say that today. That came out like sausage roll. She abuses her ADHD meds. I don't believe she has ADHD. I believe that there's a lot that I've recently put more puzzle pieces together, and like this is my little theory. I'm just going to put it out there. I believe that Katie, Miss Narcissist, got the dogs that need therapy, that have anxiety issues, so she can get anxiety meds from the vet, because they're interchangeable with humans. Like, human anxiety meds are the same as animal anxiety meds. And yeah, trazodone is one of them. And that's Katie's happy place. She said it multiple times on multiple podcasts. Sometimes her son can't get to sleep and he takes a higher dose of trazodone than she does. Yes, she has said that. I'll dig it out. It's from like 2000 and, what was it on? Laughing in Disbelief. Wonder what those guys are up to now. God, have they tuned into Katie? I want to, oh my God, Sam, the guy with the glasses. I would love to interview him, because we should watch that interview. Have I watched it? I don't know. When she's on the, yes, because Sam, I remember just being, Sam wants to say something and he can't. And Katie knows that he doesn't like her. Okay. And so many leaves were blowing.
Jessa is the only one of the girls that took above algebra. She took algebra 2 because she liked math, but no one else in the family other than Jessa has taken above algebra. And the girls' education stopped at 8th grade. None of them but Josh have their GED. So it's really hard for them to actually go to school. Alice is not dead. I absolutely verified Alice. There's pictures of this. But yeah, the Duggars don't have education at all.
There's pictures of this. Pictures of what? Pictures of information that she sent you to verify? How would you verify? You are so gullible, Katie. You're also so desperate to hold on to the Duggars, to hold on to these viewers, because really without them, you've only got sister wives and there's only one wife left. One wife left. That is like playing Mario Kart battle and you've only got one balloon left. Katie, that is your career. Hanging by the line. Is it October 2nd or is it October 3rd? If it's October 3rd, what a day. What a celebration of diapers. I'm sorry, Katie. I took it there, but look, you have your happy topic and I have mine. And which one takes us out of this? Okay, I'm stalling. I'm totally fucking stalling. We're not even halfway.
Yeah, it's insane. So getting back to David Waller's church. So Dim Bob is coaching the girls, and he coached his own daughters to say that they don't remember the abuse, but they do remember the abuse. So Ginger gave a deposition like a couple years ago as a part of their lawsuit. And in her deposition and in her like evaluation with a guy that was supposed to like be in charge of their mental health thing, she said that she knew that Josh had molested her many times, but that she was scared to go back into her memory to remember that because she didn't want to think about it. She told the psychologist in the court records that she had night terrors, developed an eating disorder, severe anxiety, and would not go to sleep because she was so scared to go to sleep. Ginger remembered everything. And she said that she believed that she was one of the most targeted of the girls. It's horrible. It's horrible. But Ginger and none of the girls were able to get help. So basically what Alice says is that in 2002, Josh tells Jim Bob, I've molested the girls. Jim Bob is too busy to take care of it. And he's like, whatever, I don't give a shit. He leaves Josh home alone with Alice and they go on the road for him to spend $150,000 of the family money. And leaves them with Mary. Alice says she didn't even know that Jim Bob had a dad. Alice said that Mary was never with JL and that Mary would stay at Jim Bob's house and they were never with JL. She thought JL was dead because JL, Grandpa Duggar, was never around, ever. So Mary would stay at the Duggars' house and JL was not there. Like JL didn't exist at all, but they were married.
Oh, sorry to pause you on your happy face. I was not listening at all. So the only reason I came up is because the screen, what is with that copy and paste thing happening? And then it wouldn't go away. So I'm just coming up for a breath. Look how happy you are, Katie. Who was she saying? JR wasn't there? I wasn't quite listening. Is it JB? No, who's JR? Okay. Who's Mary? Is Mary the grandma? Look, I should just look it up for myself. Imagine if someone sat there and just went through, like, also the dogs are in the basement. You can hear them.
Married. So I was like, did you know that JL died in like 2000? I don't even know what year he died in, like 2010, 2011. And she was like, no, I just figured that he was dead because Mary was never with him, never talked about him. I didn't know that they had a grandpa. He was non-existent. Yeah, interesting, right? She said that Mary was a compulsive liar and obsessed with getting Jim Bob famous and would stop at nothing to get him famous and believed that he was like some sort of like second coming of Jesus. And so Jim Bob's like inflated sense of self came from Mary, and his habitual lying and pathological lying apparently came from Mary too. And then they're hiding that he has a dad this whole time, right? How does this even happen, you guys? How does this even happen? So when the abuse happens, he never got sent away in 2002 because Jim Bob was too busy taking care of his Senate campaign. And then in 2003, when it happened again, then they sent him to the IBLP. And
I don't know anyone who would use this tone to talk about this issue. I mean, you know, talk about, and then it happened again. I can't. It's annoying me and I need to get past it.
Alice said that there was a huge fight between Jim Bob and Jim Holt and some of the members of the church about how to handle Josh. But all of these guys were pedophiles too. Not all of them. But Alice said that several of the fathers that were in this church, Jim Bob was too busy taking care of his Senate campaign, where they had assaulted girls. And so they didn't care to actually get Josh help. They just were like, whatever, according to Alice. A second source told me that two of the fathers were actually pedophiles, allegedly. And that because they were pedophiles, they didn't really want to do anything for Josh. They didn't want to expose Josh to potentially expose themselves. So they swept it under the rug.
You're a sick woman, Katie. You are a sick woman. You can say that word over and over because you've got no connection to anyone. You don't care. You don't know. Look at how happy she is. Look at how happy she is thinking about all these pedophiles and all these children getting harmed. Look at her smile. Katie, we are looking at this. You are so disturbed. This is so gross.
In regards to Jim Bob and Michelle's relationship, Alice classified Michelle as like sadistic with her kids. Like, I know that the kids say that they loved their mom, but Alice believed that Michelle was sadistic. Michelle took a lot of pleasure in correcting her children, according to Alice, and was very proud of giving women rods and teaching them how to abuse their children. And I asked Alice, why doesn't Jessa or Ginger or Jill speak out about their corporal punishment? Like, why don't they say anything? And Alice said, because Jim Bob and Michelle told them and have indoctrinated them to believe that you can't love a child unless you beat them. So,
well, I believe you're a narcissist, and narcissists are incapable of loving their children, Katie, and I know that's you. I've been reading all of your articles. I'll link the playlist below. I've been reading a lot of Katie's articles, and I have to take break now and again, but I've got one coming up because it's just so sad, the stuff that she shares. But when you've got no self-awareness, you don't know what you're sharing, and you're sharing all the evidence that spells out that you are also a child abuser, in my opinion. I also believe that you keep your son sick so that he remains dependent on you, so that you reap all these benefits, because as soon as he ages out and can become independent adult, imagine what he'll say about the horrors that happened in this house. And we know there are some horrors. I'll link the list below. It's another parent, how the Paulsons parent. That's a good playlist. Also, focus on feeding. Katie didn't have the patience because she was still in addiction, in my opinion. No patience. It's also why she doesn't flinch when Toad yells at V. You know, because he doesn't have the patience, because he's also grew up with addiction. They both grew up with alcoholic parents. But yeah, I feel every time that Toad has tried to get sober, Katie refuses to give up drinking. She doesn't see how she affects other people. But yeah, that's just the perspective of the addiction side. But it's also shows that they neglect their son. I was just talking, or just on Twitter, I replied to Ellie about how when they, because with their addiction, they don't have the patience and they would rather yell at their son. So they've been screen feeding him, pushing a phone in his face since he was at least 6 months, since he was at least able to sit up. And for a few, you know, for a year or so, I didn't even want to talk about all this stuff to do with V, because you don't talk about the kids. But it's what Katie is the reason he has all these things. Like, she has made him disabled. He is way more able than she presents him as, and it's sick. It really is sick. She will jump from diagnosis to diagnosis, and like she'll get a new diagnosis and then dismiss the one before because no one has multiple ones. And he's never going to be their priority because her addiction is. She's not even going to the hospital with a staph infection, MRSA on her eyebrow, been there possibly for 3 years. No, doesn't care. Priority is talking about Duggars and CSA while you're off your face in the basement drinking. If this topic was so serious, wouldn't you give it your full attention instead of being, you know, off chops? Because you are, Katie. It's the movement in your mouth that makes me so sick. I feel it in my gut. I want to vomit, because the mouth is the pleasure zone, basically. She is finding pleasure as she talks about this by licking her lips, sticking her tongue out, moving her, like you know, bringing, what's it called? When you bring your lips in, like push them together, and why, I just can't even like think of what that's called. But yeah, all the mouth movements, because she's getting the buzz from the alcohol, the Adderall's mixing there, it's giving her a little buzz, and these details, she is in her happy place.
They've told their kids that I have to hit you because I love you, because it is my job. Alice is very much alive, and you are commenting from a fake account, Samantha, so goodbye. If you don't have a picture and you're leaving like bullshit comments, you're coming from probably the Discord without a crystal ball or the Reddit. I'm going to delete you.
Why don't you look up the statistics of like what people that don't have profile pictures, and you'll find that it's actually older generations who don't find the importance of having a picture. It's not that, oh my God, you're the one that has all these different accounts, Katie. Bit scared? Bit scared? I would be too. 7M needs to see this. You're not the Duggar go-to. Shiny happy people directors? You didn't pass that background check. So try again.
Alice is a real person. She is vetted. She is verified. Everything. So they were told Christina is going to get blocked. Goodbye, Christina. Okay.
Welcome to the new world. We've got one. We've got Katie, and you're doing it the right way as well. WP. Yep. White Paulson privilege.
She said that they tell the kids that they are hitting them because they love them, and that the reason why they're doing this is that there's a Bible verse in Proverbs about like foolishness and the rod. You have to like use the rod to knock out the foolishness of the child. The woman from David's church shared the actual verse with me. I don't know the actual verse. If there's someone from IVLP that knows the proverb verse, you can put that in there. But that's the verse that they use to justify hitting. And so what they tell the kids is like, God has told me that I have to hit you, and I'm doing this because I love you, and I'm going to hit you and hit you and hit you and hit you and hit you to break your will. So anyways, they've equated the abuse they experienced with their rods as love. They've been told their whole lives that their parents have hit them and abused them as love. And I said, okay, but it's 2023, y'all. Don't they know that there's other ways to discipline children? And Alice was very honest with me. And Alice said,
you don't know Alice long enough to know if she's being honest or not. Okay, so straight off the bat, this is a lie. There's no need for you to tell us that she's being honest, or you know she was being honest. Only a liar needs to emphasize that point, okay? Because if it was real, just give us the fucking info, you know? Fuck, don't beat around the bush, Katie. Put your hands down. I'm over it.
those who spare the rod hate their children, but those who love them. It's that one, but there's something about the foolishness of children. There's a proverb about foolishness of children, like a specific proverb about foolishness of children. But anyways, she said that the other reason that they're not saying anything about the corporal punishment is because they're all doing it. She couldn't say for sure about Jill, but she could say confidently the rest of them would be a part of churches that are promoting biblical beatings of their children. And so they won't speak about the abuse because they're also abusing their own children. But they don't know that they're abusing their children because they're brainwashed, I guess.
I don't think a guess, I want more than a guess. I want facts. So thanks, Paulson.
Foolishness is bound in the heart of the child, but the rod of discipline drives it far from them. Yes. Thank you, Mo Bear. I'm going to pin this comment. This is the proverb that they use to justify the abuse of children. Thank you, Mo Bear. So for them, it is.
Is that Toad? It has to be Toad. One of Toad's multiple accounts.
Completely normal and they don't look at it as abuse. Now, I just want to tell people something.
So do I. And I just want to say that when addicts find coping mechanisms, and I don't mean therapy, I mean they've got a child and they need to get them to shut up so they can continue to watch TV and deal with their hangover. So, yeah, screen feeding their child, they don't believe that they're abusing their child, but screen feeding, screen addiction is worse. It's up there with heroin. It's said to be worse than heroin withdrawal when children are being taken, you know, when you try and get them help. It's insane. Katie talks about her child having insomnia. This is why. He's fully dependent on the screen. He needs a screen, and they use it. There's photos of them holding it up, and they're like holding the phone above him and laughing that he can't reach it, and he's crying. Like, they don't understand. Katie also does not understand that being unhygienic, not having a sanitized environment, not, you know, having the kitty litter in the bedroom, having the cats stressed out of their hair, like locked up in cat cages at night next to her son, who she forces to sleep in her bed, who's going to be 11 in a few weeks. And so he's sick because of her. She's so disgusting. I've never come across anyone who just totally disregards their own hygiene, who thinks that it's funny to go on a live and show your staph infection like you're not a fucking filthy bitch. That's because of you. You're putting makeup over it. Everything's fine because addiction tells her that it is. No need to worry, no need to stress. Nothing's an emergency. No, everything is fine.
I grew up that way too. And I was telling this to Alice. I said, you know, I grew up in a household where that was how my life was. I didn't realize that not every child got hit. I didn't realize that you could go to sleep and not get your ass beat, right? I didn't know that. I figured every kid, when they were like screaming and crying and having anxiety, got their ass kicked. Like, that's what I went through. And so it wasn't until I became an adult, had my own children, and I realized
you did not have your own children. You have one child. Also, you did not grow up in a family with a rod. Also, you grew up you got boomers for parents. Basically, we're the same age, Katie. That's what that time was. It wasn't seen as abuse to hit your kids. Now it is. So you really, really, really want to be part of this. You can't cover something that you aren't part of. I grew up in that purity culture. Have you seen my 34C breasts? Katie, we don't need to know. You just want to fit in so desperately. This is not your club. You're in the ABUSER club. My gosh. Please don't tell us the story about your dad. I think that's a load of bullshit because you can remember what your sheets were. Like, Pat, it's just weird the details you remember. Like, too much detail?
wait a minute, this is fucking weird. Like, why would you hit a kid? Why in the hell would you hit a kid? And then I started asking my friends, dude, were you hit by your parents? No. And I was like, oh, why would you hit a kid? Why would you hit a kid?
Why would you yell at one? Why would you yell at one that has adrenal insufficiency, knowing that you have to give him the shot of cortisol when he goes into a adrenal crisis? Because that's happened multiple times by your husband yelling at him over and over and over. It doesn't faze you. You don't react. That tells me that it's normal. So you might be not physically hitting him, but you are installing like fear in your child. Let's go back to the feeding, Katie. You deliberately fed your child food that he would choke on. So he would become fearful of food and wouldn't eat. So then he would end up failure to thrive, and you could live your wildest dreams being feeding tube mum. Because you don't have the patience to sit there with a child, not only just a child that, you know, needs help eating with the oral apraxia, or that with the motor skills, the underdeveloped muscles in his mouth, like that, which come from being born premature. Katie's a mum to a premature child. She didn't have the fucking patience. Whereas, like, I was born premature, my mum had the patience, like, of, like, my mum said she used to sit there for like 3 hours and wait for, like, make sure I ate. Like, Katie wouldn't do that. There's pictures. She doesn't help him eat. She doesn't teach him how to eat. She puts the food on his sitting on his high chair tray and sits back and films. Oh, you're not hungry today? His fucking teeth, like, she just writes an article about going to the dentist, and the dentist says that his teeth are rotting, infected, and they need to come out. He was 2. She never brushed his teeth. Well, he's 2 or 3. And then she gives him not tacos. Yeah, tacos. No, nachos. Nachos. Why wouldn't he eat it? Because his fucking teeth rotted out. It's disgusting. The neglect is there, and it's all documented by Katie Joy Paulson herself. Miss, I've got no self-awareness and an ego like a fucking narcissist. I'm always right. Okay. Child abuser. My opinion, Katie, my opinion. But I mean, God, it's my opinion with your evidence that you provided. I'll link all the links below.
Like, why would you do that? I grew up in a home where my parents were Democrats, and they hit me. They were, it's a confusing life I lived, because they might have been politically Democratic, but they had conservative beliefs about some things. And I don't know if it was because of their age. You know, they're in their 70s now. Democrats back then were different than they are today. I don't know.
I can tell you that it has a lot to do with the church. And, like, my parents grew up in the Catholic Church, and they grew up in boarding school where they were taught by nuns and abused by priests and nuns. So the Catholic religious beliefs really set the standard for society. And that's how it was all, like, that was pretty strict, like with the whole lying, the 10 Commandments, like all that. Like, I grew up Catholic. I don't resent my parents. But you know what? Like, I also don't hate them, because they have actually been conditioned into keeping their thoughts within a box. If they ever thought outside that box, they were punished. And that's really what religion is. It keeps you from questioning, keeps you from, like, thinking. That's, you know, Katie will never understand. She'll never be able to put herself in her parents' shoes at a boarding school or something, or just, you know, that kind of religious abuse. She wishes she could. She just grew up in a nuclear family. The American picket white fence. But she wishes she grew up on the wrong side of the tracks.
My dad was very misogynistic, extremely. My dad was a narcissist. I don't speak to him at all. I have no contact with my parents because of their abuse. But it took me until I was 42 years old to have that moment. And so I was telling.
It actually took you. Your mum was diagnosed with dementia, and then boom, you're able to talk about all of this abuse that happened. You don't talk to them. Your dad wasn't the narcissist, by the way. You know, he's a counselor for behavioral, like, psychology. He's probably drug counselor. That's why you keep your distance. I mean, you show all the signs. Is that why you moved an hour away? I think so. But yeah, I believe your mum is a narcissist because her mum was a narcissist, because your mum was an alcoholic, Katie, and her mum was an alcoholic, and you're an alcoholic. You also have the face features. This is all my own opinion of FAS. I'm not going to say it out loud because I feel bad, you know, but God, Katie, your son has it too. A lot of this disorders that your son has neurologically are caused by drinking during pregnancy. A lot of them are the neural tube that you love to talk about. Did they question you when he was born? I bet they did. Why did you isolate? You had to go all this way, an hour away. Then we'll be able to use telehealth.
Alice, like, well, maybe it'll take Jill until she's in her 40s to understand that this is abuse. Getting spanked is being hit midwife. It's the exact same thing.
I don't believe it is. I mean, like now it would be considered, but I don't believe, like, I don't go, I was abused as a child. I was spanked, wooden spoon and the belt. But I mean, God, I think of my mum, like raising 4 kids. I can't even handle it. One. Well, I don't even have one. Okay, I'm just, look at, like, because it's not to the extreme of what she wants people to believe. I believe that she was probably spanked because she was naughty, you know, that. But I don't believe she was abused and brainwashed and, you know, to the level of what she's discussing. She wants to be included in this group, and it's sick. It's so sick. Can't you just advocate for other victims instead of writing yourself into their story? God, man, it's psychotic. But no, I mean, gosh, Katie, put your tongue back in. Oh, Katie, did you listen to me? I just noticed your top. I know. Oh, gosh, it's a V-neck. This is your staple uniform that I've been asking you to wear for years. Or you should just bulk buy T-shirts, V-neck. And every day just wear a different one, different color, or black, you know? None of this other shit, you know, your other clothes. Oh my God, I just don't want to see Snoop Dogg again, ever.
If you're getting spanked, you're being hit. Period. Period. Politics were different when I was growing up. Like, yeah, I don't know. My dad was very misogynistic, very sexist, very shaming. I was the scapegoat. I was a lot like Jill. So anyways, I was telling Alice, like, well, maybe when they're in their 40s, they'll figure it out. Except it might have been the norm with baby boomers, but I'm like Gen, can't remember what this is. I'm like the micro generation between Gen X and millennials. I can't remember what it's called. There's like this micro generation. It's like, I think it's like 1978 through 1985. I don't know. It's a microcosm of a generation where I'm too young to be Gen X, but I'm not old enough to be, I'm too old to be millennials. Zennials. Yes, I'm the Zennials. Thank you. I'm the Zennials. Yes, I'm a Zennial. Okay. Because when people talk about Gen X, I'm like, I don't relate to that. You're too old for me. My husband is Gen X. He was born in 1971. But I'm a Zennial. Okay. So anyways.
Stop feeling yourself, man. Because your hair, and this is not being bad, but guys, she's lost so much hair. Her hair starts in the middle of her head. Like it goes up and like you can't see it really on this angle, but if she puts it down, you'll be able to see like it goes around. I'm really bad at describing stuff. Where's your widow's peak gone? Has she lost the peak or is that it there? I'm confused. Remember when you said that that was the widow, Katie?
When I was growing up, it wasn't uncommon for people to be panicking about Satan. Like satanic panic was real. Like seriously, Tipper Gore, who was a Democrat, by the way, Tipper Gore was trying to like ban all the music, all the heavy metal music. This is why I'm telling you, Democrats were different back then. Tipper Gore, who was a Democrat, Al Gore's wife, was trying to ban heavy metal music.
There was a huge movement, and it's got nothing to do with whoever you think, because I never came across them. The whole ban of the heavy metal Satan music, because like I said, the whole society was built around Catholic beliefs. Heavy music, when you've got, I don't know, Alice Cooper. Oh, Katie, imagine Alice Cooper on the line. Also, whenever she says Alice, I always think of Toni Collette, United States of Tara. Oh my God, have you guys seen that? It's so good. I might even watch it again. But yeah, she's got multiple personality. I know it's called something different now. But yeah, one of her altars is called Alice, and she's like this 1950s like wife, and she bakes cakes and stuff. Oh, it's the best. But yeah, and then one of her other altars is called like Trevor or something, and he's a real bikey. Okay, what did I come to say? I don't know.
It was just a different time. Yeah, I know. You just told me Gen X is 1965 through 1980, but that doesn't Zennials are like the microcosm, because people that were born in 1965 and people that were born in 1978, you can't compare the two. They didn't have the same childhoods. We didn't even remotely have the same upbringings. My brother-in-law was born, I think, in 61, 60, and then my sister-in-law was born in like 65. Our childhoods were not even comparable. To have us in the same generation would be redonkulous. They went after Twisted Sister, yes. Exactly.
It's probably fair to say when you're talking about your husband, you didn't have the same childhood, but if you're talking about your brother, it doesn't matter the age difference. You had the same childhood. You grew up with the same parents that have the same values that were inflicted on you, whether you liked it or not. Now you're calling that abuse, but you just really struggle to understand society back then. You want to talk political. It's got nothing to do with political.
Exactly. Yes, Tipper Gore was a Democrat, and she literally went after hard rock music. Ridiculous. The 60s changed things, but my brother-in-law's childhood was way different than mine. My husband's childhood was way different than mine. My husband doesn't have memories of his childhood like containing computers.
Your husband had a way more traumatic childhood than you. He grew up with parents that were addicts and alcoholics. For, you know, well, like they only got sober once they or his siblings were adults. So, and that's why I'm pretty sure Toad wanted better for his son, but it's hard to escape the cycle when, you know, someone married you, okay? Fucking hell. And here you are dictating the anti-metal movement. You have no idea what you're talking about. You have no idea what was going on at that time. Do you want to talk about black music and how there was only white music radio and all that, and how that Elvis Presley, they wouldn't even play him on the white radio because he moved his hips too seductively. So it was the black radio that got his music out. There's a whole ban. Wasn't there a whole ban on like where musicians could play It had no, I've never heard of the people you're talking about. Was it Gothard or whatever? Whatever she says, I tune out. I know, Katie. This is my survival mode, okay? We're only this far. I'm thinking, because I don't want it to be a long-ass live, should we do part 2 tomorrow or just keep going? I mean, God, I know. Slower than a snail over here. But that is my spirit animal, so give me a break. Give me a break. I'm 13 hours ahead. Okay, Katie. God, I just get goosebumps when you say, let's talk about my childhood that I've made up in my head because I've lied to myself all my life. And what I tell myself is the truth, even though it's all lies. Like you lied to yourself when you were 41 that you had been abused by your family just because that is what you were covering. You needed. Oh, I think you even said that you were, when you were talking about the Duggar women, you're like, because I lived a life like them or something when you didn't. Oh, you said your brother abused you, but that was just sibling rivalry. Plus, you were probably a leaf back then, really easy to torment. And yeah. Grow up, Paulson. Get some big girl knickers on. Oh no, not knickers, big girl pants. Sorry I went there, but God, you made me. You put me on this train of hell. Okay, we're going back.
My childhood contained computers. Okay. Anyways, I don't even know what I was talking about there, but my life was very like it was a more conservative time back then. I was a child of the 80s. I graduated in 1997. Goo Goo Dolls, like Maxbox 20, all that bullshit. Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera.
Can you please get out of my generation and stick to your own? We can't be the same generation. I don't think I'm Gen Z. I don't know. I don't want to be in your box. But Katie, that's that was all music from my generation. Like you're older than my brother who was born in 1980. And yeah, so you'd even have to, like, what was before then? Like Pearl Jam. You said you were into Pearl Jam. Although, you know, Matchbox 20. I went and saw them on my birthday. I can still remember. I think it was like I think it was 1997 when Katie graduated.
Pearl Jam, grunge music, Nirvana, all that shit. Squirrel, exactly. I'm having my ADHD moment. I'm gonna turn off comments again. So anyways, what is happening in the IBLP is like, I feel like I can only tell you so much. Like I can write it out in words and I can say, this is what it is. But I feel like until you hear, I have IBLP survivors in my comments every day. I have survivors of Gothard, sexual assault, abuse, harassment, victims of Gothard in my comments every day. And I get really offended. This is why this whole thing started. When people start saying that the Bates are better than the Duggars. I get really hurt and I get really pissed off. And so I'm in this.
Pissed off, I can understand. Why do you feel hurt? Is it because if you were a good writer, you'd be able to get your message across clearly, but you aren't a good writer. You don't know what you're saying and it just comes across as gibberish. And if you do have survivors in your comments, learn how to speak in a safe way that doesn't trigger people. Might not trigger you, like I said. Stop thinking of yourself. There's people out here that have been harmed in the way with the details that you find fucking exciting, and it's sick, Katie. Like I said, maybe you should just go and say all these details in the mirror as you're looking at yourself so you can see what we see when you are drooling and licking your lips and smiling so big. Not once have you Like, you might feel hurt and feel pissed off, but you're not even thinking about the victims there. You're thinking about yourself. Would have been good if you said, I felt pissed off for the victims. I feel like I've been doing a shit job getting the word out. Hell yes. You are a shit writer. Learn how to write. Learn how to, well, because it's just words. Words carry no weight with you, Katie. You are a narcissist, in my opinion. I know how you love to have narcissists in your label gun. You go around, everyone's a narcissist now. But Katie, I'm telling you, you are. You are just so disconnected from everyone. No fucking emotion and no emotional intelligence. That's your biggest weakness. Hello, Mr. Oh no, Mrs. Narcissist and Mrs. I know it all. You're kind of lacking in that department. And it just makes you look so fucking dumb. Like a fool. You're desperate for acceptance because you don't even accept yourself. You're so fucking insecure. Look at you, man. I mean, this is just not an advocacy live at all. This is a, yeah. I'm turning comments off now. No, that's Katie, not me. I do have ADHD, but my meds haven't run out because I wouldn't do that to myself, Katie. Oh, there's your earrings. Okay, now I've got somewhere else to look now. Okay. Matchbox 20. Oh my God, I really loved the first album. I don't know if they had another album. The one with Push. Oh, it was a good, I don't think I had the Santana, that, you know, that song that was overplayed. Just like the ocean under the moon. Katie, you're not like an ocean under the moon.
Woods, right? I'm getting trauma on my, I get trauma in my emails, in my DMs, and on my phone. And I don't ever complain. One of the first things I always tell someone that grew up in this is that I want to validate what you went through and what you experienced was wrong. Because many of these women have never in their lives been told that what they went through was criminal and wrong.
I hope that you are discussing with them that whatever information you receive is going to be blasted all over Instagram, on all your lives. You know, you have no issue sharing other people's trauma.
And so when they come to me and they're sharing this information and they're saying that Gil Bates told me this, or Dave.
Why you? Why would they come to you, Katie, the fruit salad of YouTube? There's no credentials listed in your bio. There's no previous work. There's no training that you've done to deal with trauma. Because just by saying, I want to validate your story, I want to validate you, fuck off. You might want to hear those fake words, but they need emotion. They need understanding. They need someone who is going to be able to take their story and not regurgitate it for their own benefit, not exploit them, not do a stream where they're guzzling back booze and smiling and laughing when discussing pedophiles. Like, you just can't get enough. I can't imagine being a victim, sharing my story with you. Not that it would happen, but like I said, I love playing into your little game. Yeah, I can't imagine doing that and then tuning in to watch you and seeing you regurgitate my story in your own way, embellishing it, really driving it home for an hour and a half. It's exciting. But not once in this hour and a half or whatever will that person see you have any kind of empathy. No emotion is being shown on your face or expressed in your words. Your monotone does not change. Oh, except when you're excited. Yeah. Can't hide that.
David Waller said this, or I'm to pledge an allegiance to the Duggars. And then they're also caveating that with, I was assaulted by Bill Gothard. I was assaulted by someone at a training camp. My brother sexually assaulted me. Do you know how many messages I get from girls that grew up in the IBLP that said my brother assaulted me, or my dad sexually assaulted me, or my cousin or someone in the IBLP sexually assaulted me? It is every single one. I have not.
Every single one. Every single survivor from the IBLP. I'm only dyslexic when it comes to that. Everyone has shared their abuse story with you because you're so open and welcoming. You provide that kind of environment. I'm going to go talk to Katie. No, out of everyone that is out there, all the YouTubers that have actually got advocacy training under their belt. No, I'm going to Katie. I mean, gosh, the Happy Shiny People documentary, they didn't need Katie at all. She didn't pass the background check. They were like 800 videos on the Duggars. You must be a stalker. I mean, all you're doing is re-traumatizing the Duggar women over and over, talking about Josh over and over and over, supplying no information that is going to help, no support, no links, because Katie, you aren't there to help. You're not there to advocate. You're there for story time. It's fucking sick.
Not had a single girl contact me from the IBLP that has not been sexually assaulted by someone or sexually harassed or sexually abused. And all of them have been shamed and degraded and told that they deserved it. And it's so sad. And so when people tell me things like Gil Bates is not as bad, and I'm like, dude, Gil Bates is on the board of the IBLP. Gil Bates literally has sermons that tell women that it is their fault if their husband cheats. It is their fault if their husband abuses them. So if you get punched in the face by your husband, it is your fault. He tells people homophobic things. He talks about he's anti-Semitic, he's xenophobic. The IBLP is, if you listen to anything from Gil Bates, he talks in such like hate and disregard of Jewish people. And this is something I find very strange about this culture, is that when they speak about the Bible and they speak about Jesus, they always talk about the Jews. Okay, so I grew up Catholic.
Why did you have to do E.T. Quake Fingers? The Jews. Katie, you were discussing what the women told you when they emailed you, and every single one from the IBLP had gone through that ABUSE. So why did you flick your hair over your shoulder? Does anyone know what that is? It's a sexual thing. It's something you do when you flirt, when you're excited by information. Yeah, basically it's a flirtatious move. She's talking about Bill Gothard. Guys, this is absolutely sick. Her body language, her tongue. I can't, like, how many times have we seen Katie's tongue during this live? And it's like a thrusting tongue too. Yes, I'm going to go there. But body language is my thing. That's my comfort zone. Fuck, I don't even want to press play.
And we never, growing up Catholic, when we spoke about the people that crucified Jesus, we always referred to them as the Romans, because it was the Roman government that ordered this. But in the Baptist culture of the IBLP, they blame the Jews for murdering Jesus. And so they are very anti-Semitic. And they use terminology that's very violent against Jewish people when they speak like this. And so
I was I grew up Catholic, went to Catholic school, had to read the Bible every day. That's not really, well, no, I wouldn't know what the IBLP view is, but I would think that they are taking the extremist view on Jews, since they were seen as then I was yeah, I don't know. It's Katie, you are so shitting me right now.
I've never heard of people blaming the Jewish people for killing Jesus, but that's what Gilbert says, and that's what the IBLP says. And Jesus was Jewish, yes. I know it doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense because they don't understand the Bible at all. So a couple of days ago, I posted something about Jim Bob being dyslexic, and people that have dyslexia were really upset with me because you said I was being ableist. I had no opinion about dyslexia. I was sharing with people Jim Bob's opinion about his own dyslexia. Jim Bob's.
And this is exactly what I mean. You've got no idea the weight behind words. You have no self-awareness, so you don't know what you are doing or what you are implying. You just want to talk about Jim Bob.
Friend basically said to me that like Jim Bob was illiterate when he graduated from high school, and that he got sucked into the IBLP because he didn't have to read the Bible and he could just watch the videos. And so everything was on video and everything was like on audio. And so he could just digest things and he could go to seminars that way. And
that's pretty much how, like, my friend only ever listens to audiobooks, never read a book in her life. And that she did that all through uni, never read a book. Everything was audio. And that's, you know, the lectures were recorded. They provide that. What are you trying to get at, Katie? Because he learnt about it in a different way through a different medium, that makes him misinterpret the Bible. Do you know they are just a branch of Christianity or whatever, a branch of the religion? They come up with their own way. They're not misinterpreting them. They're rewriting it. That's what happens. I mean, the Bible. Multiple books were written and only 4 chosen for the Western world. Was that not a bit of brain control? But it doesn't, you know, society at general. But I think I've reached the stage where my brain can't word sentences together because it's just fucking mushed peas of what you do to me, Katie. And it's an hour and a half and we only made it this far. Should we do a part 2, part 3? I'm not sure. Chat, Cactus Crew in chat, you can decide and let me know because I can't decide. Katie has ruined my brain. It's soup brain now. Pea soup. Oh, I wish I could eat that. I can't eat so many things because I also have similar issues to V, Katie's son. I've got like gastroparesis, which like comes from being born prem, just no muscle tone from my hips down, which sucks because I got like a back problem that could really do with some muscles right now.
So he didn't have to read the Bible, and he doesn't want to have to read the Bible because he really can't read. And it's not because
Katie, you're such an idiot. So he doesn't want to read the Bible because he can't read. Seriously, so dumb, man. Do you ever use your brain for logic? Or is there just too many Jim Bobs in there rattling around? Jim Bob every day. I tried to find a picture of him and I just can't find one that I like. How come his hair doesn't look so perfect when he leaves the house? I like that Lego hair, and that's the only thing I like about him, the Lego hair.
He's dyslexic. It's because he doesn't do anything to try to treat and read with his dyslexia. Dyslexia is not anything that is like debilitating. People,
you don't know, and it's fucking debilitating. It's embarrassing. A lot of people don't want to admit that they are dyslexic and don't until, you know, they've just got through so much. Like, they will avoid books at all cost. Katie, you are you don't want anyone to be, oh no, nothing's making sense. Nothing's making sense.
with dyslexia, with proper treatment, can learn to read.
Well, let's talk about proper treatment. And if you take your son to therapy and do the homework that the therapist set, and don't, you know, once they call you out for not doing the homework, so you stop taking your son, and you're like, I'm going to find a better route. We're going to go down the feeding tube route. I'm going to make sure that my son can't eat or won't eat or will be fearful of eating because I've only ever given him choking food. You also didn't give him any baby food. Like, you just fed him whatever you and Toad had. Like, no kid is going to eat that shit. Plus, he didn't know what to do. You didn't take him to therapy. You weren't consistent. He struggled because of you, locked up in that house. All you would do was film him. My child's nonverbal, but you didn't teach him anything. You didn't play songs, counting songs, alphabet. You didn't teach him his shapes, his colors, anything. You, even in your articles, you're like, I can't believe I have to teach him how to walk. Like, ridiculous, Katie. Absolute fucking ridiculous. It's almost like you didn't even use a parenting book or Google what to feed my child at certain age. And do you know how I know what you fed him? Because you shared the pictures, Katie, and I've got them, and I shared them for everyone. I'll link it below. It's Focus on Feeding. Horror show. Absolute horror show. You want to talk about therapy and getting help? Shut up. Shut up. Plus, I don't know if because like the IBLP, aren't they kind of dismissive to even mental health being a serious issue and having to treat that with a psychologist? So I don't even know if if Jim Bob's parents would have recognized dyslexia as being like an actual disorder. You know, so he probably wouldn't have had access to help, I'm thinking. But not that I'm team Jim Bob, I'm team dyslexia. You aren't the expert on every fucking disorder. You're not even an expert on what your son has. You don't even understand that by yelling at him, it's cause and effect. And then you come in with a lovely needle that makes everything great. It's giving you godlike feelings with your son. You're a god and you can do anything. He can't have orange juice. Give him orange juice. Then you'll talk about how he's not allowed to have orange juice on a live. But then you filmed yourself giving him orange juice because you are a leaf.
But Jim Bob is so... Yeah, Jim Bob was having a maladaptive response to it. He was like mad about the fact that he couldn't read. He was angry about the fact that like he had a horrible experience in school. I'm not...
That sounds about right. That's what dyslexic kids go through.
I'm going to tell you, I can't tell you who Alice is. Alice is just someone who knows the Duggars. I'm not going to tell you who she is. She's just someone who knows the Duggars. So, and that's not her real name. So anyways, Jim Bob was telling his people that.
In case you didn't know, Katie's hair, her mane, that's her ego. flicking it around like you know exactly what you're saying. No, you want people to swallow this? I'm not swallowing it. I'm just letting you know now. Oh, God. Like, you just... Do you reckon Katie believes this shit? She must. She must. Or do you think she knows that she's just bullshitting? I don't know if she knows that she is Alice. She's talking to herself. One of her fake messages that she makes up. It's not hubby today. No, take that one out. Replace it with Alice. Look, guys, I'm talking to Alice. Yeah, Katie, you're the most trustworthy person. You get caught out for lying and you say, trust me. No, no.
This, right? So he got sucked into the IBLP because he didn't have to read the Bible. And then he was like, well, I can just watch these videos. I can go to these sermons and I can watch these seminars. And what Jim Bob did is he made his dyslexia an excuse to not only explain his ignorance, but he used it as an excuse to abuse his children and to undereducate them. So his friend was basically saying to me, like, Jim Bob hated, I just want to tell you guys something. There were families that were friends with the Duggars that were homeschooled, and they were homeschooled very well. Like, there's one specific family I can think of where the mom was actually like a K through 12 teacher. She quit her job and she homeschooled all of her kids, and her kids had a stellar education. And some of those kids went on to college. But
Katie, you homeschool your son and you are so dumb. You are so dumb. Your son is way smarter than you. I can't, like, I've literally never really come across anyone who doesn't know they're dumb. Like, you are so dumb. I might have to end this live before I join you in that dumb boat, because that's where I'm heading. This, what you do to my brain, absolute mush. Can you provide any intelligent conversation instead of you just vomiting down a funnel that's attached to your subscriber's mouth and, yeah, calling it a day? They swallow whatever. Well, we don't. We don't swallow it, Katie, and we never will. And I've been calling you out on your shit, and I think you're as bad as Jim Bob. I think Jim Bob with dyslexia might be smarter than you. Yeah, there's a lot that I could add to that, but thanks, SD. Was it? When do you remember anyway? I've got to do a members live coming up. Everything was falling apart at one stage, and I let you guys down. But I'm going to bring it when I come with it. No, what is it? When I come big, but that sounds bad. But I'm talking about dishes. I can't unclick it. Oh, there. Thanks, SD. Have you got, what's your little emoji? Is that a boomerang next to your name? It is a boomerang. Is that a boomerang? Do you know what? Okay, I should have boomerangs in my merch shop. Oh my God, cactus boomerangs for Christmas. We'll bring them out at Christmas. Okay. I'm going to end it here, and I might have to do tomorrow, finish it off, because, guys, when it's a long way, and I don't want a big, long live, just because, you know, I have to timestamp it. But I appreciate you guys, like, rocking up and, like, watching it with me, and I know other channels, and you've probably watched it multiple times, but I so appreciate you rocking up and not letting me watch this alone, which would be fucking torture. But yeah, just hopefully I can provide that different perspective with the whole addiction stuff, and just how fucking, I just can't believe the carousel from hell, round and around and around. Like, Alice is telling her info that we know, that is common sense as well. Like, she really wants everyone to just go to her for the Duggars. We've always known this, but he just wants to talk about her favorite topic with no trigger warning. In her basement, drinking wine. What day was it? Was this her Saturday or Friday night? What time was this as well? If anyone knows what time of day and the actual date, if it's the 22nd, I'm not going to be happy because I like the numbers. Because I'm going to have the best birthday this year, the 23rd of the 10th, 23. Why couldn't I turn 40 on that date? No. Oh, Venda, I was going to say, how is dude? You have to send me a picture. I know, I have to check DMs and everything, but I'm interested in a picture of dude. Because right now, I just picture, I don't know if you told me what dog he was, but in my head, I picture him as a long-haired golden Labrador with sunglasses. And, you know, I don't think that he... Is he a small dog? Actually, he's a Jack Russell, isn't he? Ah. Oh, Susie. Why Susie's name isn't showing up as a member? Oh, yeah, I'll look into it. Suvi is Susie. Oh, thank you for saying that. You can only ever watch it with me. Oh, take you for life. We'll never walk alone again. Yeah, no. Have you tried refreshing? It might like have to refresh, but also I have noticed I'm unsubscribed from a lot of my favorite channels, and it's not until I come across the channel and I'm not subscribed that I see it. Like, why is this going on? YouTube is so annoying. No, you're not YouTube. You're actually, well, no. There's so much I want to discuss, and I always want to bring in new dishes and not stay on Katie, but she's such an easy thing to just, you know, fall back on. And yeah, but I want new dishes on this channel because it's too much. It's too much. What if Katie goes to jail? If she goes to jail, it will be a special with Amber Portwood. Yeah. Well, not yet. It's my birthday in a month, but yes, I'll hold on to that. I'll remind you. I'm just excited to turn 41. I didn't like turning 40 because I don't like even numbers at all. And so, yeah. Thanks, everyone, for rocking up in chat. Hope you guys had a good chin wag. I'm pretty sure you did. I need to involve you more. I need to come up with a little, and now we will have comments and questions from the chat. Maybe that's what I need. Something with music. Oh my God, he's a black lab. And you didn't tell me. You didn't tell me, did you? Please tell me you didn't tell me. And that I was like, I felt that. A black lab with glasses. Oh. Have you brought him glasses? I'll get him some Cactus ones, you know, for New Year's Eve. Those ones that say 2024. Okay, guys. Thanks so much. Katie, let me just check. Like, God, we haven't made it far at all. Oh, another half an hour or so. We can do that. We've got all the time in the world, Katie. You don't. But thank God we don't have your life, okay? Thank God that we don't have to write ourselves into lies to, I don't know. Really, how do I conclude this when I've got no brain as usual? Give this video a like, share it. Yeah, please consider subscribing. And yeah, I'll catch you guys for the end of this. We will finish this live that we started on Saturday. And I'm going to release that short later on, so you better watch it, even though you've seen it in this. You know? Oh, are you saying no to glasses? And it was very stern no. Oh. I'm going to send them anyway. I'm just pulling your leg. Take care, guys. Oh, I love seeing all the green in the chat. It's beautiful. And yeah, Lindy Lou, an Aussie. I know it's always good running into an Aussie on the KJ train from hell, because it's like running into an Aussie when you're overseas. You know, oh my God, it's like family. And then it's like, what are you doing here? Are you crazy? Take care, guys. I'll catch you tomorrow. See you, Katie. Bye.